What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the Star Wars Exchange for another Bad Batch show. We're back 1 week after our mid-season review. Very happy to be back. Haven't been able to cover this show as we would have liked, but a big double episode this week. We had to jump on and cover it. Hopefully, we continue to do so for the rest of the season. But yeah, what a banging couple of episodes. Really good stuff. Can't wait to jump into it. Before we do, Mike, how you going today, buddy?
I'm doing awesome. It's Bad Batch Wednesday. I'm on spring break, as I said last week, and it was so nice to stay up till 2 in the morning and watch these episodes drop. Like I said last season, it was very hit and miss that I stopped doing it until it got to the end of the season. But I mean, incredible. Like every week, they just keep rewarding us with amazing episodes. And not only was this a double feature week, but both of them were just like amazing in their own right, and it was totally worth staying up for. So I'm doing great. When Star Wars is good, I'm good.
Oh yeah, I like the sound of that.
How are you doing today and this weekend? What's on your mind besides Star Wars and Bad Batch? What's coming up?
I'm doing good. It's Thursday, so I fly out on Monday. So I'm getting very stressed. Just a lot to organize, a lot of things to get done beforehand. But I'm very, very excited to get over there, hang out with you and everyone else. So that's pretty much predominantly what's been on my mind. But Bad Batch was a nice break from that, and yeah, let's just talk about it because two great episodes. Let's start off with episode 10, of course. I forget which one this was called, but I saw someone posted this on Twitter, and it was just a really great representation of how these episodes felt. It was two people carrying someone on a stretcher. One carrying the stretcher says what happened to him, and person two says they just watched the two most recent episodes of the Bad Batch, because that is honestly how these episodes had me, and I'm sure had you as well. We actually got to watch together, which we haven't done all season, which was great.
Right.
But yeah, like, what were your overall thoughts, I guess? Actually, let's not start with episode 10, just on both as a whole. What were your overall thoughts on both of them? Because some pretty crazy episodes.
Heavy. I said it yesterday, but the first one was very hard to watch. And so much so that after, some people write as soon as they finish one episode and the other one's available, they binge it. They're like, oh yeah, give it to me now. Like, you and I took like a maybe 10-minute breather and we're like, all right, let's chill out for a second, because that genuinely caused me a lot of stress. And I just felt so sorry for those kids. Like, I mean, it was just awful. And I don't know if it was because now I work in the education field and all that, and I deal with kids all day and all that. And what my mind went to was like, if one of those kids were in that facility, it's like that, how awful. So it was very painstaking and just, like I said, difficult to watch. And like, it was just awful the way the kids were like, are we going home yet? Like, it was just knowing what we know as Star Wars fans and how all that works. And yeah, they're probably never going to see the light of day again. And it's just it's so heartbreaking. So, and also just gave me anxiety for them, so job well done to the writers and to the directors. Like, this is just great. Like, this is, again, as I've been saying every time we talk about Bad Batch season 3, I'm like, every week this show just upgrades itself in a new way. And this is one of the things that I'm like, did I just watch Stranger Things or something? Like, this was just amazing. And then episode 2, we got to see the Bad Batch again, or I should say episode 11. But the second episode, we got to see the Bad Batch again, and we were waiting for this island to kind of get invaded. So the moment came, and the visuals were amazing. The action sequences were really cool. And at the end of it, I'm just like, where is it? The story just keeps changing for me. Just where you think where it's gonna go, they change it up for you, and Omega's back in the Empire's hands. And I'm like, I did not see that coming. So I had all range of emotions watching this double feature. And now I understand why they did a double feature for us, because one, you're like all stressed out about these kids and you're like, oh my god, that's awful, and scared for them. And then the next one, you're just like, whoa, I don't like, just the whole environment has changed. What are they going to do next? So credit to Lucasfilm Animation. I said on Instagram today, like, I really hope, I'm like, kudos to Lucasfilm Animation, and like, I hope they get to tell more stories for the years to come, because they are just no other animation studios doing it like they are. When it comes to television, delivering consistent quality television shows and all that, like this is just great. So on the scale that they have for the past like decade, and also I really hope that after Bad Batch they get to tell more stories, because God, you could just tell how passionate everyone is, from the animation team to the music to it all blends in well together. Like, so this is just Star Wars animation. It's like, I wouldn't say at its peak, but in its top tier moments. Like this is amazing. So yeah, I don't really have much more to add than that. But what did you think about the double feature? I mean, like you said, we watched it together and we like kind of went through the same motions, and afterwards we're like, bro, that was so heavy to get through. But what were your overall takeaways?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'll just put my phone on silent. Sorry about that. My overall takeaways, I just felt like Mike said this to me, and I just so agree. This is why Bad Batch will never be a comfort show, because you get home from a long day of work or whatever it is, and think, oh, I want some comfort food, comfort TV show. You put on Fighter Flight, bit of Rebels, bit of Clone Wars. No, and you're not putting on Bad Batch though, because this stuff is intense, and yeah, it just felt it's so heavy, as you said. And that first episode really, I don't know, it didn't feel like Bad Batch or even Star Wars animation, but in the best way possible. And I'm just blown away by the writing, because it's complex, it's deep, it's like it's so much it's so far beyond surface level than some stuff occasionally can be, and that's not trying to a slight on the show or anything. It's just this is really deep storytelling. All the characters are rich, like we harped on about it last week, but Crosshair is just an incredible character, like really incredible. And Omega as well, like her making that decision this season, that in the second episode was huge. And like I said to Mike, as soon as we finished the episode, the second episode, I did not see that coming, because I seriously did not see that coming. Sometimes, TV shows in general can just be so predictable, and like especially recently, I feel like it's been difficult for a TV show to really catch me off guard. You know what I mean? But the Bad Batch really has done that multiple times this season. And when they were talking in the room, Omega and Crosshair being like, "Oh, this is going to be our plan," whatever, I was thinking, "Oh, like I thought we'd sort of jump out of it, and that they'd scan Omega and say, 'Oh, this is where the tracker is,' and then she'd get on the ship and just like pull one out and be like, 'Oh, it was in my shoe,' or like something stupid like that." That's honestly what I was expecting. I was not expecting them to go through the plan they'd actually talked about and for that to go wrong. Like, what? Just it genuinely sent shivers down my spine. Like it was just a jaw dropping moment. So just two really, really solid episodes, and it does feel like they've got a lot to do in these final 4 episodes, but even still, like I can't wait to see what happens, because I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know what's going to happen, which I'm so glad about. I've got some ideas, but it's just one of those things where I'm like, you couldn't tell me what's going to happen. I feel like everyone's idea of what may or may not happen is completely different, because there's so many possibilities. The writers are unpredictable, which is great. So yeah, and we put our post out, like our promo last week, that was like, this is one of the best Star Wars seasons, and that's just so true. Like this has just been so consistent week to week. There's been maybe one episode, the Fennec episode, where I thought, okay, not their best, and even still, I enjoyed that episode. But outside of that one, every single episode has just hit. So I'm loving the direction they're going in. But yeah, I just hope it continues, because I love the double episodes as well. I really love the double episodes. Because and question for you: do you think they're doing that in response to, in season 1, the Ryloth episode, where they dropped the episode without the Bad Batch and everyone sort of was hating on that? Do you reckon they're doing that in response to that, since the first episode didn't have the Bad Batch?
That totally could be it, because if you notice, last season they did the same thing when the Bad Batch wasn't in the episode. It was the I forgot what the episode was called, but It was the one that had to do with Senator Chuchi and the clones. She
Yeah,
was it was all about her and talking to all these
true.
clones about,
Yeah, yeah,
raising a bill up and fighting for the rights, and then they came up in the next episode. And so I never realized that. Yeah, they like now they hit us with the, hey, Bad Batch is not in this episode, but guess what? They're gonna be in the next one. And
Mm,
even the premiere, it didn't have the Bad Batch in it. It just had Crosshair and Omega. Well, I mean, it didn't have like the core, the whole
yeah,
group. Like
yeah,
you would expect in a premiere episode. It's like, wait, where's every, like, imagine watching a Rebels season premiere and not having like Hera and Kanan, and it's only like Ezra and Sabine. It's like, where's everybody else?
yeah,
So yeah, I just really appreciate the double features, because sometimes it just needs to be displayed like that, and shown like that to audiences, where you're not like waiting week to week, where it's like, man, it really would have packed a punch if they gave us 2 episodes, if they gave us a double hitter. So, and they
yeah,
did. And every time they give out these 2 episodes, they release them, like it's like they both, it's going to be fire. Like, I don't think they have released 2 episodes yet that have been like kind of like, it was all right. No, I think
yeah,
genuinely they've all been really fire. So
yeah. I wish that the previous double episode they released was on fire though, because I couldn't see a thing. Would have brightened it right up.
everybody's been saying that, but like I could see just fine.
Oh,
I could see just fine.
I'm just messing around, but and I actually like that the Bad Batch can do episodes without the Bad Batch in it. Like I don't
Right.
see anything wrong with that. I know people have like had a go at the show for doing that, like in a negative way, but I really don't see the issue with it. Like
I
you
wish
ask me, it's fine.
Right. I wish Rebels did that from time to time, where we were just
Mm,
with I think they kind of would.
yeah, they kind of did.
They
Yeah,
kinda, but I really wanted them to, like, do, like, an episode just with Thrawn and Callus, and that's it. Like,
yeah,
don't even give me anything else. But, I mean, they still found a way to do it that, still incorporated the characters. Because I remember I was mad when they first did it. I was like, because I had been fighting against this core group that I'm like, these are not the characters to tell this story form in, right? And obviously, like, that's why you don't spit up in the air. You gotta wait till everything's evolved, and see, you make your judgment at the end. You can say whether you're
yeah,
being entertained or not, but you can't really make judgments on the story until it's all said and finished. And obviously, like, back then, we were like, what, it was just before the Ryloth episode. We got through like the Rancor baby episode, and another episode where it was just like, oh, here's this, like, we're gonna water this really important topic down to make it, understandable for everybody about politics. And I was like, what? Like, I just was expecting a bit more. And it was just like, why are these characters, like, they won me in the premiere and those episodes that follow, but I'm like, why are they the focus of this era? Like, why are we experiencing this era with them? And then it comes full circle in all these moments where it's like, because they're clones and they have such a unique perspective, because they weren't like the regular clones like everybody else. They have something that kind of saved them from all of that, and then you get to see like their own unique perspective on it. So now everything makes sense. But I remember at the time I was like, when it was just Hera and Cham, I'm like, why couldn't it be like this? Like, just
yeah,
random care, like a anthology show like Clone Wars, like, have your little core group, but then like every so often just separate and introduces new characters and different points and everything. But again, Bad Batch this season is great. Like, it's just like made everything worth it from season 2 that just didn't go right. That you're sitting here being like, wow, they really left this to perfection of the oven. Last season, I felt like, I mean, we talked a lot about it with Parks when he was on, but about how everything felt half finished and how it just felt boring. Like, there was no different types of camera shots. We were just caught with the wide shots, and it made everything boring. Like, there was no flavor sometimes. There was no like spice to it. It was just like, hey, we're gonna have 2 characters talking. They're just gonna lay the camera right there. That's it.
yeah,
Like, you guys speak your monologue. We're just gonna leave it right there. There was no all this stuff that they're doing now with the amazing action shots and just all the beautiful colors, and then, or sometimes lack of, when it's very dark. Like, everything just feels really inspired. So,
Yeah.
which leads us to talking about this episode, the first one, the beginning, when we're in this like village, and at first I'm like, where are we? And who's this person, this alien that looks like their character from the Kung Fu Panda movies? I'm like, okay, like, all right, cool. But like, you get
Bro, I
it.
did not just say that.
I did say that. You get into this moment with the mom and just going shopping for produce or whatever at the local market, and you're like, dude, Star Wars is awesome. Like, you can just have those moments where you're just following a
Yeah.
mom and a kid, and they're going shopping, and you're like, I was just amazed by all the like amazing animation, cinematography when they were coming down on the planet first, and it just was great. Like, I was like, can we get a show of just like it totally reminded me like a Star Wars Visions episode from that like certain beginning of like, oh, there's a force sensitive one that you need to watch out for. It reminded me, I forgot which volume, but it reminded me of one of those like one-off stories. And I was like, bro, this is great. Like, I wish Star Wars told more stories, just like this. Like, doesn't necessarily have to be a 3 season long series, but just like some doing anthology. I mean, like Tales of the Jedi is a great example of giving us one-off stories like that. This totally just gave off that vibe. Just this beginning, this opener gave off that vibe, and then reminded me of so much of Visions.
Yeah, definitely. No, I completely agree with you. It was just that cozy sort of Star Wars feeling, even though I think we all knew what it was going to lead to. I agree, it was just that nice feeling. Oh, you just gotta love Star Wars sometimes. Like, also, just before I forget to mention her, shout out Sid for just being a total a-hole. Like, F you, Sid. We hate you, Sid. Your Mike said last night, who would have thought Sid was the true villain of this all? And it's like, yeah, F Sid.
Where's
I'm struggling
Sid?
not to swear right now because I just hate that stupid Trandoshan so much.
Where is Sid? Sid is MIA. She did her dirty business, screwed them over, and then she's out. Do you think we're gonna see her by the time the finale hits?
I
Do you
hope
think we're
so.
do you
I
think
hope
we're
so.
or do you think she's gonna have a redemption moment?
No, I'd prefer to see her on Mustafar in the lava.
I mean, I'm gonna refer to Omega here because she's gonna be the better person than you.
Oh yeah, she
Remember
will.
what she told Crosshair about
Oh,
everyone?
about I took a chance on you or something
Yeah,
along those lines.
like
Yeah,
second chances. Just
yeah.
saying, there's redemption is on the table for Sid.
Uh,
And you love the actress when she was in the Barbie movie.
which one? I actually don't
Sid's
know.
voice actor. She was in the
Was
Barbie
she?
movie.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, she played like the old lady that like created Barbie or something like that.
Oh, that's crazy because when I was watching, I was like, "What is that voice?" I was like, "I knew that voice."
You didn't know?
I never knew. I never knew, but I know exactly who you're talking about because I
Yeah.
remember watching it and thinking that.
Wow, there you go.
That's wild.
Fun fact.
Dude, you've
Wow.
just like
I've just blown
changed
his
my
mind.
world.
Yeah, I just literally he's gonna go back and watch Barbie now, everybody.
Oh, man, interesting. Anyway, shout out Sid. She sucks. But you know what's funny? The first time they mentioned the Trandoshan woman, I was like, what are they talking about? I was like, shout out Trandoshans, I guess. Like, I don't know what they're talking about. That was the second time where I was like, oh, I see. Anyway, let's just want to get that out of the way because I don't want to talk about her ever again. I hate her so much. Anyway, so I guess we start off after the Cad Bane comes in. So yeah, Cad Bane plays a role in this episode, but it really could have been anyone. I guess it was just cool that it was Cad Bane. You disagree?
No. You sparked something in me. That rant
What did I spark?
that happened yesterday. That was about to happen again. We're
Oh
watching.
no! You go.
I'm sorry. I should mention this when you asked me about the double feature.
Yeah.
So me and Ara are sitting there, and I was just, I haven't really been posting on Instagram, and I just wanted to post and let everybody know that I was staying up this time to watch Bad Batch because usually I would catch after work and all that, and very tired. So I go to Instagram because I'm gonna post in my story. Hey, watch Bad Batch. Where's my gang at? Immediately as I open the app, I see that Disney and like Disney Plus and Star Wars posted a little sizzle reel for the episode. And who do I see? Cad Bane and Emery. I was very disappointed. I was like, "Are you serious?" And Ari's like, what happened?" And I just shut my phone off, and I was like, or I just exited the app because right, Ari's on the phone. And I was like,
Yeah.
"Never mind." Like I just saw a spoiler. He's like, "Don't tell me." I'm like, "Don't worry," because I'm mad about it right now. I was like, "Don't worry about
Yeah.
it." So when we watched the episode, I just did the biggest eye roll. I'm like, "Are you serious?" Like, and you said it best. Like, I love that it doesn't spoil anything because back then, if you were back in season 1 or even Mando season 2, if you showed some of these cameos, if you were told like, "Hey, like Ahsoka's in the next episode," you're kind of like, "Oh, what? Like, why'd you spoil that for me?" Or, "Hey, Cad
Yeah.
Bane comes back. Why'd you spoil that
Yeah.
for me?" Because there wasn't a lot of meat there that, like, if it was spoiled for you, it kind of took away a big part
I
of
was
the
like
experience.
a huge part of the experience was reacting to them being there,
Yes,
you know?
exactly. It
Yeah.
was very
Yeah.
reactionary. It was like,
Yeah.
I feel like now it makes sense why a lot of the characters were in the story because they added,
Yeah.
background to it. But when it was initially done, it was just like it felt like cheap cameos, right?
Yeah. Well,
So,
on that though, that's why season 2 of Mando probably hasn't aged very well. I don't
right,
hate it, but I think it hasn't aged well because of that. We're all reacting. Bo-Katan, Boba Fett,
right,
Cobb
right,
Vanth,
right.
Ahsoka Tano. Oh
You're right.
my god! Like just
Yeah.
so Luke Skywalker, like
Oh yeah,
being
Luke
there.
Skywalker. Right.
Yeah.
Where then it's
Anyway.
like, oh great, yeah, I'm rewatching the series. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I know who's there.
Yeah.
But so they did the same thing as you heard last week with Ventress and all that, or yeah, that was last week. And I told Ari that I saw that, and he's like, "Don't worry, like if any, yeah, you know that she's in there now, but like it literally doesn't take away from the episode." And he was right. Like
Mm,
it was like, okay, great, Ventress is in it, but it was just so much more than that. She,
yeah.
I mean, it was just great what they did with her character, and it just like there was just substance there, and it was just an empty smoke like they usually like to do when they throw these characters at us. So I thought that was great. And here again, well, I didn't think it was like it just Cad Bane was not the center of the episode, and therefore it was just like a not a cameo, but it was just like it just wasn't. It was like, oh great, Cad Bane again, cool. Like just do your thing and get out. Because I was more focused and fascinated by the story, what was going on with these kids, and also, yeah, Cad Bane, yeah, cool guy. Low key, I was expecting an Inquisitor at first when they're talking about about the kid and having these abilities. And I was like, oh, I wonder who this guy's gonna call, right? We saw how this kind of went down when we watched Tales of the Jedi, the Ahsoka episode, when that fellow farmer was like, oh, like I'm gonna report this and to Imperial Command, and they called on an Inquisitor. And Ahsoka fights him. And that's what I thought they were gonna do, but the story had already set up that these class 1 bounty hunters were after the M count subjects and all. So I was just like, all right, I'm half expecting an Inquisitor, half expecting a bounty hunter. But I was just like, yeah, it's probably gonna be a bounty hunter. So I was so when the guy went up to the little comm and was like, I need a class 1 bounty hunter for an M count subject or something like that. I was just like, oh, okay, cool. I
Mm,
mean, but at what point are we gonna see Inquisitors? Because like we really got to that stage
yeah.
when when Emery goes into the lab or into I forgot what they call it, the vault.
Yeah. I honestly don't think we're actually gonna see them because I feel like the Inquisitors, yeah, like I mean, we see them in Rebels kind of hunting down the babies and stuff like that in Future of the Force, but
Right.
for the most part, I just feel like as of now, there's probably still like a not a large, but a decent amount of Jedi still around for them to hunt down, and I feel like the babies is probably what they got onto when they ran out of Jedi to hunt down. You know what I mean?
I like that. I like that.
That's kind of my
Did you come
little
up with that
two.
your own on your own?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I
Well,
like
I
that.
literally just thought of it,
I
but
I actually I actually like that
yeah,
because
yeah,
I rewatched Clone Wars today, like the episode where Cad Bane's hunting down the
yeah,
kids, and I was like, okay, like I get it. Palpatine's kind of doing this underneath the table. Dooku probably doesn't really know much of it, so he has this bounty hunter stuff having droids go after these babies, right? That's why I came to the conclusion of. But this totally makes sense because it's like, yeah, it's like, bro, what happened to the Inquisitors though? Like, because this is their type of thing. But you're right, this is in a time where they're hunting more of like the actual Jedi out there rather than force sensitive kids. They're not really like we've seen that like a story like that in the Charles Soule Darth Vader comic where they're hunting like this kid, whatever. But it totally makes sense that they're out there doing the bigger tasks and like they're just having bounty hunters kind of pick up the scraps of kind of stuff like this that it's a little bit more manageable. So yeah, that's my headcanon. I like that.
Yeah, I guess we'll see what happens there. But I guess we haven't talked about it. But bro, Nala Say, stop trying to act like you're a hero because you're just not. We all know you're not a hero. You were the reason that Fives died. You were working with Dooku. You were working with Palpatine, and I can't stand listening to her talking
she
like this.
Is the hero of Mantis.
Bro, I can't stand her. I can't stand it. You're not a hero. You were the reason that Fives died. Okay, I'll never forgive you.
I was just fulfilling a contract. It really wasn't my fault.
I'm probably coming off as really sour and bitter this episode.
You are
first Sid, now Nala Say. I'm just unforgiving. But no, so Imri takes over Nala Say's role. That we go into the vault, and yeah, you and I were both saying we were expecting it to be like the Palpatine corpses or whatever it was going to be,
right?
But no, it was these kids, which was very interesting. So something we've seen before, but it was probably shown to us in a very different way. And I mean, the whole episode is just like has this really eerie sort of tone to it with the kids being around, of course, and like it just heavy watch, hard to watch. And then, it all leads up to more babies coming the way of the vault, I guess. And I remember watching it just being like, damn, like this is an animated show, Star Wars, like you're expecting the end of the episode, like the kids will break out, it'll be this thing. But I was like, that's just not going to happen, is it? And then the credits roll and they're just still there. The whole purpose of the episode was just to show us they're there and this is happening. It's horrible. So yeah, it was one of those things. Anything else to say on this episode though?
I loved it because back in 2016, like I just found this random show, Stranger Things, that people were starting to talk about, and I just like fell in love with it. And I just love that show because of it's like Star Wars. They're given like the original trilogy, how Star Wars started off, like you meet these big challenges, you meet these opponents and antagonists, but what gets you through all this stuff is your friends, and I absolutely love Stranger Things because it's just all friend based and everything. So Anaheim, California, we're there for Star Wars Celebration, and we threw on and Ari was sitting there. I don't know if he was too pleased watching Stranger Things because he's never seen an episode, but we made him watch it, and we watched season 4, episode 1, right? That's when it came out. And the first scene, it is like as soon as the show, I mean the episode starts, like it's Dr. Brenner getting ready for the day, but and he's a scientist, right? He's an evil scientist. But once he gets to the lab, as he walks in, the doors open and it's all these kids playing blocks, like dropping blocks down, building blocks, or doing stuff with telekinesis that are like moving remote controlled, or I'm sorry, they're moving like little toy cars with their minds, or they're like building blocks or whatever. And it's just like this whole white room, and then there's like scientists on the other wall like observing them and whatnot. And it's exactly what this was like. I love that they, as you were mentioning, that they were like, we both thought we were going to walk in and finally see those clone bodies in those test tubes, and it's like, oh wait, this is not, they teased us with that, but this is what's actually back here. Like, whoa, this is crazy. Because I'm like, wait, what are kids doing there? And then it clicked in my mind. I was like, oh man, this is getting dark. So yeah, like I absolutely thought all that was so chilling, and like I don't know if Stranger Things like inspired that, but it just totally felt like it. So yeah, like it was giving off those vibes, like those, like I don't know, like evil scientists vibes and all that. I mean, Hemlock is a great reminds me of Dr. Brenner from Stranger Things, and then you got all the, you just have all the factors in there for it. And I love that you can see those scientists up behind the windows on the second floor, or by the ceiling. Like that was just creepy. And yeah, you just felt sorry for the kids, being like, what killed me, as I said earlier, was like, Mistress Emery, when are we going home? And I'm just like, dude, that is devastating. Like it reminded me so much of the vision from Fallen Order of like, yeah, we got these kids, force sensitive kids and whatnot, and what do we do with them now? We're gonna make them Jedi and we're gonna train. And then it's like, this big Inquisitor purge trooper track down happens on them, and then all these kids are getting imprisoned and killed and tortured, and it's just like, bro, that's what these kids are on that path, and like, I just felt so bad. Like, it just was evil, us sitting there watching them being injected by needles and then being in a very confined space and having no sense of any type of freedom. And they could have been brought there since like 2 years ago, and they're just kids. Like, it's just horrible, especially that baby that Cad Bane captured, that little child. And it's like, this is where he's gonna be. This is where he's gonna grow up and be prodded and like an experiment. And the way Emery immediately was like, "What's your name?" and Hemlock was like, "Dr. Emery. Do not refer to them as, or do not," I forgot what he said. Like, don't be.
They are specimens.
Oh yeah, they're specimens, and then they have like but the numbers that they had, those kids, it was like SP-54. It's like, wait, you're telling me that's the 54th kid you guys have had? It's like, where are the others? That's creepy. And maybe we'll get, I don't know if we'll be able to see that in a little animation, but maybe they'll say down the line, what happens to those kids and whatnot. Because they've only got really dark in Rebels when people were asking on the Rebels Recon show, right? Like, oh, what happens to those kids afterwards when the Inquisitors got them? And Dave Filoni just was like, yeah, that story's too dark to tell on Disney XD. So it's just like, what happens to these, so it's just, that's awful. And this episode really made me hate the Empire. Like, I've always disliked
like
them.
Andor level hating of
the
Empire.
Yeah. But this was just like, when kids are involved, I got really mad, and I was like, I hate the Empire. And before we move on to the next episode, awesome having Tarkin in there. Having Tarkin in there, trying to meddle his fingers like always, and being like, "Oh, your project is in danger of losing financial support and all that," and exactly what he did to Krennic. To Thrawn in Rebel season 4, and be like, the Emperor, and you already know Tarkin is like pestering Palpatine, be like, "Are you sure Thrawn's project is, blah blah blah?" Like, this man does not want to see anyone succeed but himself. So it was crazy how Tarkin was there and being like, "What is this project concern?" And dude, the animation's so good. The way Hemlock was like talking with his hands, and he did this one motion that I'm like, this looks like it's almost like live action. Like, if there's an actor doing like motion capture on this, but Hemlock was like, "That's none of your concern. This is a private matter." And it's like, ooh, so good. I love when it becomes very like in verse with political rivalry and all that, of just enemies trying to upstage each other. And it's like, you guys are on the same side. Settle down, But great episode. Scary, dark, heavy, and very difficult to watch at times, even though like it's just crazy. We went from like the same animation team and all that. We went from doing Star Wars Resistance to this. Like, they are obviously well versed and very just they can do anything. They can tell any story.
Yeah, I'm with you. And moving on to Point of No Return, a lot happens here. Just opening up, we lose the Havoc Marauder, which I forgot about that. Like it's gone now. Wrecker is not in a good way. Citizens of Pabu are just frantic all over the place. It gave me very what's the name of the planet that Andor's from? Ferrix. It gave me Ferrix vibes in like those first few episodes when the security bureau team or whatever is like coming in for the first time. And like the residents are just like not having it. So yeah, no, it was a full on start, and yeah, we go all the way through. It's just the Empire invading, and we see what's his name, the trooper. I don't know. I never know what to call these guys. Yeah, the
CX2
trooper
apparently is his name.
Yeah. The what Crosshair could have been guy.
Right.
He was told, if you fail again, don't come back or something along those lines, and he ends up succeeding. And Omega's, I guess, what would you say, selflessness was what came through, and then of course the moment with Crosshair, and man, just a lot to unpack here. A very emotional episode. And when Omega was leaving like Tech's goggles and the teddy bear in the museum, I guess, I was like, oh wow, like that is really touching, especially the Tech's goggles. And just her talking about like, oh, like this was the only place we really ever called home, and all that. I just beautiful. I really loved it. So yeah, what do you think of this episode?
Yeah, no, I really like this episode, and one thing that stuck out to me was how much this episode, or at least like the invasion part, reminded me of Kijimi from The Rise of Skywalker, when they're invading everyone's homes and whatnot, like the snow troopers, and then you have the Star Destroyer hovering over, and that's how it played out here. The Venator was hovered over the island, and they were going door to door, like getting people out, and they were about to set homes on fire looking for Omega. It just got crazy. And you know, the visuals were amazing. I mean, I could just sense like the urgency to leave the island, but I was like, you guys aren't doing enough. It's too much. Like, oh, I'm gonna get a snow cone, and I'm like, get off the island. Like, seriously, like, I don't. You guys should have been gone already when Ventress was like, you're not safe here. You know, the episode last week was the Harbinger, and what that means is, or Harbinger.
Yeah.
And what that, like, look up the definition. Like, that is someone that is coming with in before bad news, or like kind of like an omen or whatever. So it's like, you know, and we totally didn't talk about this last week, but I'm like, oh yeah, the island is getting invaded and all that, and they're gonna find the Bad Batch. But I thought they were just gonna have a little scuffle and leave. And yeah, and one of the teasers apparently, or one of the like promo reels for this, like you see the Marauder getting blown up. So bye Marauder. I was just telling Ari last week that I was trying to repair my Marauder, because I broke it from like one of the toy lines. Like it just fell and broke, and I was gonna fix it up. I don't have to anymore, because now this is the actual like authentic representation of the vehicle.
It's the real thing.
But yeah, this episode was, yeah, like I don't know, it was really good, and again, I love seeing Omega and Crosshair together, and like I just Crosshair, good or bad, I just love the guy. Even when he's doing bad stuff, I'm like, ooh, there's just something about him that I really like. The only Crosshair that I don't like is the Clone Wars version, but this Crosshair, like I was just like, oh man, like he was just like, Omega, like you shouldn't go, that's a bad idea. And I was like, oh man, it's just so cool even seeing like little stuff from him come out, like him caring, when before he was like just didn't care about anything or anyone but himself and his weapon, you know.
And it's so not over with him. He's gonna feel so guilty about everything that's happened. And
when Hunter, it's gonna get crazy good. The next, because there's 4 episodes.
Got chills just thinking about it, honestly.
That's, you always get chills though. So there's 4 episodes left, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we have 4 episodes left. I mean, I thought they were gonna do the same thing when Omega was like captured on the ship. Like I thought they were gonna be like, I still watched the episode again this morning, and I was trying to see if like she had like a second like an indicator on her, or like a tracking device or something on her. No, or even like I was trying to see what she was trying to do, because she takes off her hat or something. And it just, this show has a lot of stakes. We lost Tech, right? I really hope he doesn't come back. But then there's a part of me that's like, okay, like if he comes back, I understand. Like I see why. But
yeah,
for me, I'm just like, this show has a lot of stakes, because like I'm scared for Omega's safety. Does she survive these events? Do the rest of the Bad Batch survive these events? It's just getting real. We're getting down to the line here, and we have 4 episodes left. Anything can happen. And Omega going back to Tantus, I'm like, okay, now how is she going to I could totally see. One thing I love about this show is Omega and the way she connects with everything and everyone, and it doesn't even feel forced. Like there's just a genuine connection she has with everyone. Like I love the the chemistry between her and Ventress. I love the chemistry Omega has with each of the Bad Batch members.
Mm.
And I love that it's not just she's connected to one Bad Batch member. She has a great chemistry with all of them. When she said bye to Echo in last year's double feature, the clone political one.
Yeah.
That one was really heartfelt when she was saying bye and everything. And like she just has great chemistry with even that friend she had on the island. Like it's just great chemistry. I love Omega. She's earned, like when the show started, I'm like, oh yeah, Omega's not going on that mantle that Ezra's on or Ahsoka's on. She's on there. Like she's on there and she's totally earned the right. So anyways, like I'm just like, she's away at this island. I could totally, or on Mantis, I could totally see her up teaming with these kids and doing like a breakout or something. I really hope that's the case. I could totally see Omega being the one that breaks those kids out. So we'll see what happens. But I think that's my theory. I don't usually have theories, but I think Omega is going to team up with these kids on Tantis and break out with them and, maybe call for help or something. But that is crazy. I thought when she was there on the ship, I thought she was meditating and reaching out to the Force, but she doesn't know how to do that. So I'm like, okay, that takes away that. But maybe Ventress comes to Tantis or something. Who knows? Like,
oh man,
everything is on the table. And like we're like I said, we're getting down to the line here. 4 episodes left of the Bad Batch. Like, how's it gonna go? And the next one will be our last one that we watch together, on the phone.
Other way around. Oh yeah, the last one that we don't watch. The last 3 episodes we're going to be in the same room watching together.
Well, you didn't let me get to that part. I was
so I thought you were confusing me. You're like, tomorrow's the next one's the last one we'll watch together. I was like, huh?
Yeah. So
the last one we'll watch not together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We just confused half our audience. And
yeah.
Now I'm confused.
No one knows what's happening.
I don't know either. But yeah, like it's just this show, and me and Ari started becoming friends when this show started airing or streaming on Disney Plus. So it just feels like a full circle thing. And I love that we're able to cover this all. And I mean, last year when we're covering Star Wars Celebration, we were reacting to the live stream and whatever. And we reported that, hey, they just said that this would be the last season. And does it feel like the last season to you?
Yeah, I think it does. Just with all the story getting grander. Yes. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like it does feel like it's coming to a close for me.
Does it feel rushed?
I don't think so. No, I don't think it feels good.
I think they played around too much last season.
Maybe
with some episodes.
You could definitely argue that. Yeah.
Where to me, this like season 3 just feels so compact, and every step we take it in stride, and we keep moving the story forward. There's been no bumps. Even the Fennec episode was great to me. If anything, like I love that they were like doing one of those like Mandalorian, formatted episodes where it's like, oh, you want to get to this point, well, you got to help me with a mission first. So I don't know, like to me, even that was great. But anyways, I think these 2 episodes, the first one I'd rate like a 9 out of 10, and the second one I'd rate like maybe an 8 out of 10. But just overall great visuals. The Venator over the island, like Elsa and Ari back in the day, I would see Venators and all the gunships popping out of them and be like, oh my god, like Republic victory, Galactic Republic, yeah. And now it's just like, oh shoot, we better run, we better hide. Like now it's just complete opposite, which is crazy. Like it's great. So Ari, what would you give the rating to these episodes?
Probably the other way around that you did. I'd go 8 out of 10 for the first one, 9 out of 10 for the second. I think I enjoyed the second one a bit more.
Yeah.
But I mean, enjoyed probably isn't the right word, but you know what I mean. Was entertained.
Yeah, because I was about to say that's a bit creepy, but
yeah.
I was genuinely entertained, and you're supposed to feel these things when you're watching shows. If you're just sitting there staring at the screen, being like, things are moving across the screen. It's like you're a little kid, barely waking up to your senses, being like, whoa, like this is overstimulating, or this is enough to make me like look at the screen. But no, like Star Wars, whether it's animation or live action, like it's always engaging you in some way. And if it's not, then that's when we talk and we're like, that wasn't so good. So yeah, Bad Batch, very grateful. Last year we sat here and we, critiqued and, we said what we liked about Mando season 3, but then we also said what we didn't. And it's just great to sit here and enjoy great Star Wars. So happy to be reporting this show. The show means a lot to me as it's a succession to one of my all-time favorite shows ever, and the one that made me a Star Wars fan. So this is really, really hitting all the feels and just full of nostalgia, but also just I love that it encaptures all of the new Star Wars and what the new Star Wars fans bring to the table and what they want, So I just feel like this show is very much alive with the audience.
Yeah, no, completely agree. I just can't wait to keep covering it in the next few weeks. Like, there's just so much to look forward to. But yeah, that wraps us up for the day. Make sure you follow us at the SW Exchange on Instagram. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And we really appreciate a 5-star review on the audio platforms.
Please.
Mike, where can the good people find you?
all_Star Wars. And please give us some reviews. We're going to be doing podcasts from now until summer, like pretty well planned out. So join us for the adventure. We've been having a botchy schedule just because of how busy life has been. But now we're getting to that part where it's not going to be so busy anymore. It's going to be busy, but it's going to be podcast busy. So we like that. So find me on _Star Wars and find me in the YouTube comments, replying to your comments or just chatting with y'all. How about you, Ari?
Absolutely. Yep. No, likewise. And you can find me on Instagram at Star Wars_Exchange. Posting a little bit more there lately on the story and stuff. So yeah, get involved. And like Mike said, comment your thoughts. We love chatting with you guys in the comments. So if you have anything to say, reply to us. That's the forum to do so. So appreciate you all watching. We will see you all next week. As always, thanks for watching. And may the force be with you. See ya.
Adios.